All right, guys. So I wanted to start uh, doing videos again, and this is I've decided to make a group of videos about coming to the Philippines, about um, giving you ideas about. I want to give you the most unbiased opinions, the most unbiased information, the most unbiased data that a guy would need who's planning on coming to the Philippines. So, this is my way of giving you advice, the most unbiased advice, because in my opinion, one of the biggest problems, especially before I came to the Philippines the first time, is that, well, I didn't realize it at the time, but 99% of the guys, actually 100% of the guys that I would get advice from on YouTube in regards to the Philippines, in regards to, visiting the Philippines or living in the Philippines, or when they would talk about women in the Philippines or dating in the Philippines, it would always be biased in so many ways. And as I think we can all agree that when somebody is biased, um, you know, their advice is going to be just generic as hell. Even, and if it's not generic as hell, it's actually worthless. And a lot of them just go on and on and on and on, talk about their bullshit lives and their experiences, which has a value into it. But they just they talk too much. They don't get to the point. They don't talk about it. And I realize I'm doing it right now, but I'm trying to set the background. I'm trying to set the stage for how I want to run the channel, how I want to run these videos, because I think that's very, very important. Because if somebody would have just given me the actual data, the actual information, the most unfiltered and unbiased information as possible, it would have made my trip here easier. It would have made my time here simpler. I would have saved so much time, so much money, um, and that's what I want to convey to you guys. I want to save you time. I want to save you money. I want to save you the bullshit, the hassle, um, as any way I can. So for this first video, I want to talk about location, how to pick the location when you come to the Philippines. So as far as location, you have three options because it really comes down to what you're coming here for. So you have to figure out what is your goal when you come here. So either A, you're coming here to, you know, just check it out. You just want to experience it for 2 weeks, blah, blah, blah. That's one way of picking the location that you're going to stay at. If you're coming here because you want to, I don't know, absorb the lifestyle here and you have a little bit of more time to stay here, then I would pick different location if that was the case. If you're going to be here because you're going to move here, that's a different set of circumstances where you would choose a different location based on that. So, so A, have a goal. First, make a goal of why you want to be here, why you want to come here. Number two is figure out how long you're going to stay here. The longer you stay, the better. Period. So if you're here short term, I would highly recommend staying in a large tier one, tier two city, Manila, Angeles City, Davao City, Cebu. Those are the only four that I would recommend if you're going to be if you're going to be staying here short term. You only got 2 weeks. So you want to be in the center of where everything is because it'll save you time and money. Um, and you'll be able to hit all the areas and all the parts um, that you want to hit on your, uh, on your, uh, on your 2 weeks here. If you're going to be here anything other than 2 weeks, anything longer than 2 weeks, so let's say 2 weeks to a month. So if you got 2 weeks to a month, I would say still pick a tier one, tier two city, the four that I mentioned earlier, or I would also recommend staying outside those cities, in those cities specifically only. Excuse me. If you're here, if you're going to be here 1 to 3 months, I would stay away from the city itself and stay only outside of the cities. It's okay, and I think you get the most bang for your buck because again, you're gonna probably gonna end up spending a little bit more because you're gonna stay a little bit more. Therefore, you're gonna save the most money staying in the outskirts of those cities, and only those cities, even at this point. If you're going to be here long term, anything outside of 3 months, I would recommend staying out of the cities. Period. Just don't go to the cities. It's stupid. Stay away from the cities. Um, Even in the outskirts of the cities, stay away from this shit. Trust me, it gets old within the first 6 months to your first year. It gets old. Um, while you may think it sounds great, and on paper it does sound good to be close to the city or on the outskirts of the city or in the city itself, it sounds great on paper. But in reality, when you're staying long term, that just makes no sense. It's going to be more expensive. Plus, I imagine if you're going to stay over 3 months, you're going to want to have a certain lifestyle because you're going to want to have a setup. First of all, you have to have a setup once you get here. If you're staying here over a month, you have to have a setup. And on another video, I'll talk about having setups, what setups are. It's not what you think it is, by the way. Um, and, you know, so yes, if you're staying here more than 3 months, stay out of the city, stay out of the outskirts of the cities. Trust me, you'll have a better time. It'll be cheaper, um, better quality women. Uh, I would say if you're here short term, month or less, I would say, yeah, stay in the cities, stay in the outskirts of the cities, because you want access to dating options. You want to absorb as much as you can because you're here so little time. So you want to get the full experience with as little time as possible that you have. Those would be my recommendations as far as choosing where to stay when you come out here. So this is the first video of its kind. There's going to be a bunch of videos, a bunch of topics that I'm going to cover. Until next time, see you guys later.